It helps provide a good foundation for millions of youngsters just beginning their lives. But now that Head Start may be stalled by the sequester. Budget cuts in the Head Start program are top story on News 13 at 4:30.
From the Samson Production Studios in the heart of Hazleton, Pennsylvania, it's your News 13.
Good evening and thanks so much for joining us tonight. I'm Kathy Basinski. Well, for decades, the Head Start program has helped preschool kids get the care, guidance, and nutrition required to give them a good start in life. But with the federal sequester, there will be cuts to Head Start. Christina Papa found out what those cuts mean for the kids in our area.
Kevin's a lucky little boy. He's getting a head start on learning.
I like that he's getting ready for kindergarten. He knows a lot. The teacher tells him he's very advanced for his age. And I like that because I want him to have that Head Start.
Angelica and her son Kevin walked hand in hand into Head Start in Wilkes-Barre this morning. For Angelica, Head Start is the perfect solution to her busy schedule. It's just another step in the right direction for her family.
I work full time, so this is just something to help me, keep him here. Not only do I know that he's learning, but also I don't worry about having to look for a daycare, having to look for someone to take care of him.
Executive Director at Head Start, Lynn Biga, says the organization was set up by the government and helps 1,000 kids and their families in both Wyoming and Luzerne County.
It is a commitment that our country has made to children who are living in poverty to have a good beginning.
The organization helps families who qualify financially. Cuts from the sequestration could mean less children get the chance to learn at this facility.
But unfortunately, there will be children who in the future would have come who won't be able to because of this funding reduction.
Biga says Head Start is doing their best to cut things that won't affect the children because giving the kids a quality education is the most important thing.
The students were asked to draw pictures of what they wanted to be when they grew up. These pictures behind me are doctors, football players, and firefighters, and that's exactly what Head Start is here for. They're helping these dreams become realities.
And just watching their face light up when they learn something new, it's really remarkable what they can learn.
At the end of the day, the 4- and 5-year-olds who attend Head Start all say they enjoy school for the same reason.
Because I like school and I love my friends. I like when I play with my friends.
Biga knows that funding cuts are never good. She says they will negatively affect the children and their parents.
We will try to minimize the hurt as much as possible by cutting things that don't affect children, but we know we have to cut children.
Christina Papa, News 13, Hazleton.
That federal sequester is hitting northeastern Pennsylvania and hitting it in a big way. The Tobyhanna Army Depot has announced now that the federal sequester is in effect, it will have to cut $309 million from its budget this year. That means it'll have to furlough over 5,000 civilian employees without pay for at least 22 days over the next few months. The depot says it's already frozen hiring, restricted buying, limited travel, and put off plans to upgrade its facilities in an attempt to meet the budget cuts. It also offered early retirement to 150 employees. The depot is responsible for the installation and repair of communications equipment for the armed forces on the front lines around the world. Well, federal budget cuts are also affecting the Job Corps program, and U.S. Senator Bob Casey has called for hearings on $60 million in shortfall that has frozen enrollments for at-risk and disadvantaged young people nationwide. Last month, Casey visited the Keystone Job Corps in Drums to talk to administrators and students when they first learned that Department of Labor budget gap would mean an enrollment freeze that would cut the number of students by 2/3 and the possible loss of jobs for the 450 employees at Keystone. Senator Casey has now announced a congressional hearing into that shortfall, which prompted the Labor Department to stop admissions at Keystone and 124 Job Corps centers across the country. That hearing will be held on March 12th. Casey says he wants to know how and why this was allowed to happen, saying the department failed to consider suggestions and alternatives to that enrollment freeze. Another school fighting for survival, McAdoo Catholic Elementary School, is swimming in red ink and could face closure if it doesn't pull in extra funding. But as Matthew Petrillo tells us, they're halfway there.
For these students, school could be closing early, years early, if the school doesn't get a boost in funding. That would devastate some students like Ashley Loss.
Losing all my friends like that, it would just be horrible. it just wouldn't be fun.
She's attended McAdoo Catholic Elementary since preschool and says she prefers having a religious component to her education.
I get to be closer to God than I am in other schools.
But her chance of graduating from here is threatened by the school's deficit.
To overcome that deficit, we need to raise $130,000 in order to open next year.
Going to school here isn't cheap. Tuition for the next year stands at $2,800. But Sister Sue Carwile says that's a small price to deepen a child's faith.
I don't know if you could put a value limit on it. It teaches the children to be good members of a community because it teaches them to look beyond themselves. It teaches them that everybody matters, everybody deserves respect, everybody is a member of God's family.
Sister Sue Carwile says the school isn't asking for money, just for pledges to help meet their goal. Donors have already promised more than $40,000, mostly through phone-a-thons, fundraisers, and grants. School officials are also trying to get the needed funding by increasing enrollment. It's hosting an open house here at McAdoo Catholic for prospective students and parents Sunday. That's when they'll be able to tour the school and talk to current students and teachers. And if you can't make it to the open house Sunday, Sister Sue Carwile says prospective students can shadow a current student for a day.
If anybody's thinking about sending their child here, to please come for a shadow day. We have had a number of shadow days. Students come for that, and they actually ended up staying. They liked it so much. So once you get your foot in the door here, you see what a wonderful place it is.
As for little Ashley, she wants to eventually graduate from here to go on to Catholic high school. She's hopeful donors will pull through.
I hope we get a lot of money and raise and get a lot of new kids and help them to be our friends.
Friends she hopes to help grow in faith. Matthew Petrillo, News 13, McAdoo.
And with security elevated at schools in the greater Hazleton district as the result of several shooting incidents last week, the district now thinking about installing metal detectors at all district schools. A proposal to do just that in the area's 8 elementary middle schools is currently being evaluated. The district's looking at the cost for installing the detectors and having someone on duty operate them. Metal detectors were installed in several district buildings last year after some bullets were found stashed in a boys' room trash can. District says the units have been very effective.
We have them in 3 of our schools. Along with the high school, we have them in the Career Center and the 9th grade building. And now they're talking about expanding this into the middle schools as well. It's been a great safety factor for us. I think parents have the right to be at work or sit at home knowing that their child is in a safe environment.
Officials in the district still determining the total cost, but say on average each metal detector should cost about $55,000. District administrators saying you can't put a price on children's safety. Well, it's a tragedy that has just become worse. A corrections officer who was on duty when fellow officer Eric Williams was killed last Monday took his own life last night. Lackawanna County coroner has confirmed that the guard from Scranton who was working with Williams that night killed himself with a single gunshot wound 1 week after Williams was killed by an inmate at the federal prison in Wayne County. The guard's name has not been released. The spokesman for the union, which represents federal prison guards, says the fellow guard apparently thought he should have done more on the night Williams was killed. Grief counselors are still in place at the federal prison in the wake of Williams' murder. Police releasing more information about that shooting over the weekend in Shenandoah. Police say that following an argument involving some men and women on Main Street early Sunday morning, 24-year-old Jose Manuel Arroyo of Redding opened fire. During the argument outside the Oyster Bar, Arroyo flashed a gun, then took off running with one of the women. Witnesses say Arroyo then came back and fired toward people still standing outside the bar, then got into a car and fired again as it drove past. One man was hit in the arm by the bullet, others lodged in buildings. Schuylkill Haven police eventually took Arroyo and the driver into custody. Arroyo in the Schuylkill County prison. He couldn't make $500,000 bail. Investigators say additional arrests are definitely possible. A 45-year-old woman will serve up to 41 years in prison for raping her own son and making him live in squalor for years. A Luzerne County judge ruled Carol Hahn a sexually violent predator as she was sentenced. During her trial, her son, who's now 14, testified about how his father introduced him to pornography when he was 7 and how on his 8th birthday led him upstairs and demanded he have sex with Hahn. Those rapes continued for years. The abuse went on in homes in Nanticoke and Plymouth. Hahn was convicted in December of rape of a child, criminal conspiracy, incest, corruption of minors, and 3 counts of endangering the welfare of a child. In addition to the sexual abuse, the teenager said he was given a bath once a month, brushed his teeth on occasion, and walked around the family's trash-filled home without clothes because he didn't know it wasn't proper. Police say a Nanticoke couple is charged with endangering the welfare of a child after they discovered a 16-year-old boy was raping a 14-year-old girl and then did nothing to stop it. 45-year-old John Davis and his wife, 35-year-old Laurie Ann, are charged with felony counts. Police say the woman first learned of the situation when she saw the girl being groped by the boy. The couple talked to the boy about it but never took action to stop the rapes, even though they knew about them for almost a year. The couple is free on bail. Well-deserved pats on the back for some Hazleton City officials today. The Garden Reserves and the Department of Defense honored Mayor Joe Yanuzzi and Police Chief Frank D'Andrea with Patriot Awards. The awards recognize American employers who provide support to their employees through a wide range of measures, including flexible schedules and granting leaves of absence if needed. Mayor Yanuzzi says he's honored for the recognition, but all of Hazleton deserves it.
I'm a veteran myself and reservist, and I understand what it is to be prepared. And this is the type of defense we've decided on to train people and have people ready at any moment. And I think it's a great thing.
And as you can see, Fire Chief Donald Leschko also received the Above and Beyond Award from the Guard and Reserve. Coming up on News 13, the very latest on Winter Storm Saturn that's moving across the country. Will we be slammed? We'll tell you next in News 13 weather.
Ken's Tire, Schuylkill County's #1 tire and service center with 3 locations to serve you better. Commons Crossings, Frackville and Pottsville. Find all brands of tires including Bridgestone and Firestone. Ken's Tires also offers state inspections, shocks and brake work, and engine diagnostics. And don't forget, wheel alignment, lube, and oil filter specials are running all the time. Ken's Tire, Schuylkill County's #1 tire and service center.
Indulge for a good cause. It's Community Services for Sight's Sweets for Sight in memory of Emery Smith. Sunday, March 10th at Mia's Restaurant in downtown Hazleton. Doors open at 1:30 for the event, which runs from 2 to 4 p.m. Sample sweets from local businesses, enter to win tricky trays, and enjoy local entertainment. Tickets are $10 in advance and $12 at the door. All proceeds benefit Community Services for Sight. Call 455-0421 for more information and come out and enjoy Sweets for Sight.
Is it a story of animal abuse or just a very sad misunderstanding? A pit bull mixed dog was strangled to death earlier this week in Hazel Township. Today, Christina Papa spoke with the dog's owners to find out what really happened.
It's any animal owner's nightmare. Their pet runs away. But for Sean, his story is a little worse.
All I know is what my uncle told me, and he told me that it was an accident. The dog jumped over the wall, and he has a choker chain on. When he actually jumped over the wall was 4.5 feet high, and the dog snapped his neck.
Sean Salo says he and his girlfriend Georgia Laurie think of Pumpkin as a family member. So when his uncle told him his pit bull mix Pumpkin had run away, he was heartbroken.
He was nice. He was a friendly pet. He was only half pit, half terrier. But he was nice. He was friendly. You know, my girlfriend has a daughter and that. They're good around kids.
Police have a different story. They say Sean's uncle, 53-year-old Gino Anthony Salo, was walking Pumpkin on Harwood Road Saturday. When the dog jumped into a yard that's about 4 feet below street level, they say Salo pulled up on the leash until the dog died.
Sean says he's let his uncle take Pumpkin for walks many times. In fact, Sean lives right down the road from where the incident happened. He says this time when his uncle came back, he didn't bring the dog, and he said that the dog, Pumpkin, had run away.
He came back and told me the dog ran away. Yeah, and his hand was all red from the leash. So I don't know if it was the dog that did it or if he did it.
It was only after police arrived at Sean's house that his uncle told him a different story.
And I said, "What do you mean my dog is dead?" I said, "You told me he ran away." He's like, "No, I couldn't tell you what happened." So I'm still in disbelief myself, really.
Now Sean has no idea where his uncle is. Christopher Burkanick, a Hazleton Animal Shelter employee, was there when police were investigating. He says law enforcement is still trying to find out if this case should be considered animal cruelty.
but it appears that the dog could have been strangled.
The dog's remains are at the Hazelton Animal Shelter. Chris says they have been trying to get in touch with the dog's owners for days. Sean says he had no idea where Pumpkin was taken after he was found, but now he plans to pick his dog up from the shelter and bury him properly. Christina Papa, News 13, Hazel Township.
And time now for our regional weather from the National Weather Service. Checking the radar, nothing going on today, but that may change tonight into tomorrow. National Weather Service still saying, though, we're not going to get the kind of snow that we thought we might get just a few days ago. Creative Condition is a beauty. It's by Sandra Paris, a fifth grader at West Hazelton Elementary School, and she calls it a blue house in the sun. And it's gorgeous. Now let's take a look at News 13 weather from the National Weather Service for Greater Hazelton tonight. It'll be cloudy with a chance of snow showers, but not until daybreak. A low around 26. Then for Wednesday, cloudy with a 50% chance of snow. Accumulation up to 1 inch with a high near 33. Nighttime low on Wednesday around 26. For Thursday, morning snow showers, then mostly cloudy with a high near 34. Low down to 24. On Friday, sunny with a high near 41. Low about 26. And then it gets better from there. Mostly sunny on Saturday with a high near 46. Chance of sprinkles, maybe a flurry at night with a low down to 30. Then for Sunday, partly sunny, a slight chance of sprinkles, and a high near 43 degrees. Then going on to Schuylkill County tonight, increasing clouds with a chance of snow after about 1 o'clock in the morning with a low around 29. Then for tomorrow, cloudy, but a 70% chance of afternoon snow likely. Accumulation 1 to 3 inches. Snow ending around midnight with a low of 29 degrees. For Thursday, a chance of snow early, then mostly cloudy with a high near 37. Nighttime low around 27. Friday, mostly sunny with a high near 40 and a low around 27 degrees. Then for Saturday, mostly sunny with a high near 46, low around 30. Sunday getting up to 46 degrees and sunny. Well, still ahead on News 13, basketball winding down, and that means we're gearing up for spring sports season. Fred Barletta with the News 13 Sports when we come right back.
SSPTV Sports on News 13 with Fred Barletta Jr.
Well, it's March. They say it's March Madness, and when it comes to the NCAA, we've got a couple days till that all gets underway. But right here in the Keystone State, well, we got our own version of March Madness. PIAA basketball playoffs brackets are out, and it could be a very, very entertaining series, both in boys and girls basketball. Let's give you a little preview. Quad A boys, well, the team to beat is the Chester Clippers. 24-3. None of the losses are in the state of Pennsylvania. They're the team to beat unquestionably, and I honestly don't see anybody out there that can get it done. As you see, Cumberland Valley gets their first crack at him. And notice Williamsport, they're playing Liberty. Now, the winner of that game most likely is going to get Chester, and boy, that's a tough draw, no question about it. We'll wait and see what happens when Liberty meets up against Williamsport. Rest of that bracket, the surprise Parkland, winners of District 11. They came on strong at the end. Roman Catholic coming out of the city of Philadelphia in that part of the bracket. You can take a look, McCaskey at 3-3. And you go down, listen, one of the teams to keep your eye on right there, York. They're out of District 3. They're the runner-up, but this York team is pretty good. So we'll wait and see. They get Methacton to start things off. Now, other half of the bracket, this is probably the best team in the state not named Chester. We're talking about the Harrisburg Cougars. They go into the tournament as District 3 champs, 24-2. They're in the lower half, so they cannot meet Chester unless it would be a state final, and wouldn't be surprised if that happens. You go down the line, Lower Marion, nice team too. District 1 runner-up. They lost, of course, to Chester. They get Carlisle in the first round. And as you go down, Reading sneaks in as the number 3-6 seed. State College, 6-1, or make that District 6 number 1. They are 17-7 on the year. In Cathedral Prep out of Erie, they are the District 10 champ and could be pretty good. Interesting, as I take a look, as we get this ready, there's only one team on that Quad A level that the Hazelton area Cougars played all season long. Meanwhile, on the AAA level, let's take a look. Top half of the bracket, you can see GAR, who came in as the District 2 runner-up. You got Abington Heights, who knocked them off. They're going to take on Shikellamy. And you go down a little bit further, you got Upper Moreland as the District 1 champ. Let's go to the lower part of the bracket. And you see Berks Catholic, the District 3 champ, the team to beat in that half. Go down the line, Pope John Paul II is the District 1 runner-up. And out west, you've got General McLean as the District 10 champion. So that's the way we line it up in AAA. Now, let's go to girls, Quad A. As you take a look, Springford. Remember, Hazleton played them regularly. They dropped out of the Cougar tournament, pretty good year. 25-2, they draw Hershey. Wallenpaupack, they're going to get it on with Parkland in the first round. Wallenpaupack, the District 2 champ. You go down the line, see the rest of them there. Lower half of that bracket, interesting right there where you take a look at Wilson West Lawn. Wilson got knocked off by the Hazleton area Cougar girls early in the year. They're 23-2. Imagine that. They had a great year, and one of those two losses was in the Hazleton tournament. Meanwhile, Pocono Mountain West is the District 11 number 2 seed, and it goes down and you take a look at the rest of the bracket. Quad A girls as we get underway. And finally, check out the AAA girls. And you notice Bethlehem Catholic is the District 11 champ. Honesdale, the District 2 champ right in there. Danville, number 2 team out of District 4. Holy Redeemer, they're in the playoffs as well. Lower half of the bracket, the teams to look out for there. Well, Franklin area out of District 10 and Villa Maria as well. You got South Park as District 7 champ. And let's not forget about Susquehannock, the District 3 number 2 team. We'll tell you about the AA and single A brackets as we move on in the week.
It's always a food celebration at Vito's Cold Fire Pizza and Restaurant, located in Cold Creek Plaza, St. Clair, across from Walmart. Choose from Vito's fresh seafood selections. They are delivered daily. Only the finest quality steaks, veal, chicken, specialty sandwiches, lunch and dinner specials. And of course, you must try the Cold Fire Pizza. You name your topping, a taste you will never forget. Come join the food celebration at Vito's Cold Fire Pizza and Restaurant, located at Cold Creek Plaza, Route 61, St. Clair.
And that's News 13 for your Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining us. You can catch this newscast again with rebroadcast throughout tonight, or just go to News 13's website any old time, SSPTV.com, where you'll always find the local and regional news you need and the community news you want. For the entire News 13 team, thank you so much for joining us. I'm Kathy Bazinski. Have a great night.